After the huge success of McButtons and McNuggets, YBC Doll's viral formula of being as disrespectful as humanly possible to dead rivals in his city was actually working, and as he progressed into 2024, he would continue to do the wild, disrespectful antics that would have people screaming he'd gone too far. On March the 7th, 2024, YBC Doll drops How to Step with Mir Pablo. This featured a music video where Doll was depicted digging up a grave, and in a clip posted to social media from the set of the video, Doll begins digging up a patch of dirt in a graveyard, asking where Kwani at.
Hey yo, where the Kwani at, yo? Kwani, where the at?
The music video featured this scene where Doll would dig up the dirt, and it played as Doll rapped a lyric saying Kwani still ain't got no tombstone, might go dig up his dirt. Some people thought this was a diss towards OT7 Kwani, suggesting that Doll was saying that Kwani isn't dead yet and hasn't got a headstone, so he's going to pre-dig his grave. But YBC Doll denied this meaning in his interview on No Jumper, saying that there's no direct beef with OT7 Kwani and that their gangs haven't hurt each other.
Kwani.
No names.
Okay.
No, I ain't talking about Kwani.
Because but people get that confused because they thought that video, you digging up the grave or whatever, was about
digging
him.
up his grave. Nobody in our camp touch nobody in they camp. Nobody in they camp touch nobody in our camp. We ain't got nothing going on.
Now, I think this was actually a diss towards Q Raw or Q Rizzy, whose real name was Jaquan, but the rest of the song itself was full of disrespect, including Mir Pablo saying that his people smoke Q Rizzy and it smells bad, as well as disses aimed towards Booga. On Doll's verse, he continued the disrespect, naming several ops that got shot that he says he wishes died, as well as saying that he smokes Booga and Buka. YBC Doll was buzzing in the rap game off the back of his disrespectful lyrics, and soon he would be doing more press appearances to spread the word about his music. On March the 12th, 2024, a new interview with Doll dropped on Philly First 48 YouTube channel, and in it, Doll would start the interview off by advising kids to stay in school, saying the streets will leave you either dead or in jail.
I don't really, for real though, like kids, go to school. That's what y'all should do, go to school.
Do you mean that though?
No, real shit.
Why should they? Tell them why then.
Cause y'all not really gonna end up, like y'all gonna end up dead or in jail, real.
The host would then explain how sometimes jail will save someone's life only for them to come back to more beef, to which YBC Doll responds, explaining how his ops violate their probation in an attempt to go back to jail and duck their beef in the streets. The interviewer would then ask Doll if any of his friends had gotten sentenced, to which Doll would bring up Baby 1K, Reek 1200, and Baby Wick. Doll would then also make statements that eerily describe the circumstances of his own death.
If you're not in no don't be, cause a lot of young boys, like they quick to be like somebody young boy, like they quick to, alright, so since I know him, that's my big bro, and he beefing with them. So now I'm beefing with, like, young boys is putting themselves in, feel me? And these are young boys that's really doing to people though, cause they trying to get a name, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, you gotta chill though, cause the young boys, y'all crashing, bro. Nobody don't care. They don't care about y'all. They not feeding them young boys in the jail. They not doing nothing for them young boys. Only people doing shit is they family.
It's their mother.
Nobody.
Later on in the interview, Doll would explain how he's going to make it to 50 and die of old age.
Money out here. I'm gonna become 50. Fasim said the ops ain't gonna kill me. I'm gonna die from old age. Ain't gonna kill me. I'm gonna die from old age.
Ultimately, things weren't all sweet in the YBC camp during Doll's hot streak in the rap game. Apparently around this time, YBC Doll's friend died in a car accident, and CCK members would troll his death in the comments of an Instagram post with Doll replying, clarifying that no one killed his friend and that the ops need to stop trolling like they did. Also saying in the comments that they should get back for their 4 dead members, and saying CCK are down bad, mentioning the locations of the 4 murders: the McDonald's, the YMCA, the Cookout, and the Trap House on 61st. Ironically though, people in the comments pointed out that Doll had actually dissed someone called Sir from the Mont for dying in a car themselves, with others calling him a hypocrite. Now remember that for later. Someone in the comments actually broke down all the different areas that people were from and how Doll was claiming numerous murders or wrecks from different gangs to make YBC seem more deadly than it really was. But regardless of the negativity, Doll continued his disrespect campaign and kept releasing music dissing the same dead people. On March the 27th, 2024, Doll and others would drop The Villains, or Non-Stop, where Doll again dissed the 4 dead CCK members and Booga specifically, but Doll was seemingly still defensive in the face of the criticism. On April the 25th, 2024, responding to Rel Gotti, who said that his gang slid within 48 hours over HL Osama, Doll posts that he's chilling with HL's killer. The gang going-ons were like a twisted soap opera or sports game for drill fans, and Doll's rise would only continue off the back of this buzz. On May the 9th, 2024, YBC Doll's interview with Adam22 on No Jumper dropped, and in the interview, Doll would explain how the drill wave that started in Chicago influenced him heavily.
Yeah, like the Chicago scene, like that's what really like sparked it off. Like everybody, like I ain't gonna lie, like me personally, like I'm a real like I grew up like them probably influenced me. Like them niggas, I ain't even know them niggas was like the same age as me though, feel me? Like around that time, I thought they was all older than what they really was, like, feel me?
He would then explain how Philly really turned up in the streets around 2015 to 2017.
Philly wasn't on it in 2010, 2011, 2012. Like, feel me? They was really on shit back then. We wasn't on that yet. Like, Philly ain't started getting turned up prior to like 2015, 2016, 2017, some shit.
Adam 22 would then explain a fact that he heard about Philly's murder rate going up upon the arrival of drill music.
When I was watching some of the documentaries about what's going on in the streets of Philly, it was saying that like there was like the average for a long time was like 300 murders a year, and then the drill music shit starts to hit, and then all of a sudden it's like 500 a year.
Now, when I looked into this fact, you can actually see that it's true, but you can also see that those years line up exactly with the years that YBC Dull claimed that Philly started turning up too. Now, YBC Dull would then admit that he was a Kia boy, claiming that him and his recently passed brother would ride in stolen Kias doing you know what.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I caught my first case when I was 14.
And what was that for?
I caught my first case. I was 14. I had, I think we had, well, we call them Johnnies in Philly.
Cops.
Johnnies, that's a stolen car.
Oh, okay. I knew you looked like a Kia boy. No offense, but you were kind of giving me that vibe when I was watching your last night. I'm like, I bet this dude done some Kia shopping.
Nah, yeah. I just was in the Kia. It's crazy because my little brother that died, we were just in that Kia together.
Really?
Yeah, you know what they do in them Kias, right?
I hear.
Yeah, but
I hear what goes on in them vehicles.
Fatsim would then call in, claiming that YBC created active rappers, i.e. those that were rapping as well as actively sliding in the streets.
You ever heard of I'm telling you.
Active rappers? I have heard of some active rappers. I believe you might be an active rapper.
But look, we at YBC got the most active rappers in the city.
Well, that's why I think Skrilla didn't want to talk about it. Yeah.
What you say to him?
We created active rappers.
Dull would then bring up Buddy, explaining that he had been dissing him since his first song.
My first song I ever made, I said I'm smoking Buddy out the pound.
Before explaining that he wants to lean away from the war because it's bringing the city down.
The kids killing kids, people dying at school, let-outs. Like, I don't know if you've seen this, but like, there's a lot of massacres going on in Philly right now. Like, they had to have that FBI come to Philly because a kid got shot at a school, some
Dull's sentiments kind of didn't match with the rest of his activity online, and meanwhile, fans on Reddit communities would continue to speculate, asking if YBC Dull is really gangster in one particular May 2024 Philly wiki post, to which someone commented saying that if you run 3 to 4 blocks, then you'll really like that. A show of support that Dull was truly the head honcho in his area, with someone else responding saying that he doesn't actually run anything. Another commenter casted doubt on Dull's reputation, saying that YFA was really like that, and it's them that make Dull look believable. The honest consensus was split, with some people claiming that he's for real like that, and others claiming that he ain't, with the top comment pointing out that he's the most hated, so people are obviously not going to say that he's like that. But regardless of whether or not you believe Dull was personally a factor in the streets, what can't be denied is that in the midst of his rising fame, more deadly violence would be playing out on the streets of Philly. On May the 19th, 2024, it's reported on Philly Wiki that Qua from CCK was killed, identified by police as 22-year-old Quadir Cheeks. 6 ABC Action News would report on the murder, calling it an ambush. Police reported 4 men jumping out of a car, firing 43 shots at the man in his 20s, with him being hit 12 times. Qua was rushed to hospital, but sadly couldn't be saved. And in a Reddit post about the murder, in the trend of comparing the gang violence to basketball, heartless comments would say that firing 43 shots and hitting only 12 times was indicative of a low shooting accuracy, with all of this showing just how desensitized to this sort of deadly, real crime that the followers of the music truly were at this point. Anyway, the police recovered surveillance video of the murder.
Breaking overnight, an ambush and murder on a West Philadelphia street. Police say 4 men got out of a car and fired 43 shots at a man in his 20s. 12 bullets hit him. Officers rushed to the scene, the 5400 block of Baltimore Avenue, and took the victim to Penn Presbyterian Medical Center, but he could not be saved. The search for the shooters continues. Why the man was targeted remains a mystery. Police say they have recovered surveillance video of the crime.
And would later release this in efforts to try and solve the case, with an image showing all of the shooters being circulated and a $20,000 reward being put up for any information relating to them, and a full breakdown of the footage would later circulate, with the police saying that approximately 10:48 p.m. the victim was walking on the 5400 block of Baltimore Avenue when 4 offenders jumped out of a dark grey Mercedes S560 and opened fire. Now this was a surprisingly nice car for them to slide in. This is what would be called in drill these days a striker, a high-end stolen car used to perform drills at high speed and in style, something that Dull would actually allude to in his vlog with Brandon Buckingham.
Is this a fishbowl?
No, it's a striker.
Why do they call it a striker?
Because we have no striker
Like bowling pins, we ran the strikes.
But anyway, with the striker used in the hit now identified, uncensored footage of the shooting itself would later leak to Reddit too, with members of Philly Wiki posting and asking why Kwa was killed and explaining they didn't understand the reason that he was targeted. Some would suggest that Kwa wasn't as involved in the gang war as other members, and members from CCK would say in a video reposted to Reddit that they killed the wrong person on the right block, seemingly referring to the killing of an innocent in response.
Next shot to go on the wrong block. I mean the right block, but it was the wrong nigga. We took the wrong block.
The killings and the music surrounding them was becoming a mainstream news story in Philadelphia. On June the 3rd, 2024, a long-form Philly Inquirer article is posted that breaks down the gang warfare in the city in great detail. The article is titled "Defying the Code of Silence: How One Brave 18-year-old Helped Solve 4 Murders and Convict a West Philly Gang," and it will explain how the police pulling over an 18-year-old for a stolen car led to the discovery of 4 previously unsolved murders. The witness, who didn't want to be named in the article, claimed the shooters' nicknames were YA, Reek, Murder K, Curry, and F5. The article would claim that YBC has been involved in the shooting of at least 30 people, and the article would reference Dole and YBC's violent lyrics extensively, pointing out that Dole had not been accused of any crimes, but raps like he has. They would bring up lyrics like, "I don't even want his chain, when I catch him I want his dreads," as well as "Young bull from the back block," a phrase that Dole used when mentioning the murder of Kanye Pittman. The article would also explain the alliance between YBC and YFA, naming F5, 1K, Murder K, Baby Wick, and Reek 1200. And while at their trial, the mother of the witness would explain how although she was heartened by her son's choice to speak up, she was also worried for him. And the article would claim that the witness was forced to leave Philly and that him and his mother stayed in the hotel under a fake name while in town for the trial, saying that the mother and son duo didn't even tell the police where they were staying because they didn't trust anyone. While on the stand, the witness would claim that Zaire Crawford, aka Baby 1K, would tell him that he only had 3 bullets left after killing Nazir Marks and that he had to make it count when he found Kanye Pittman, and his testimony would be crucial in convicting the 5 men. The public interest in Philly's gang and drill communities was rising and spreading far beyond the local media and localized Reddit forums, and soon vloggers and YouTubers would be going on pilgrimages to Philly to document the dangerous scene there. On June the 20th, 2024, Brandon Buckingham visits Kensington, Philadelphia to make a vlog on Skrilla, and in the video, Skrilla would take Brandon around Philly, faded, while explaining his life. In the video, YBC Dull appears and trolls Brandon, telling him that he's stopping the violence.
Listen, I'm telling them, we give back to the community, we help the elderly, we stop in the violence, we give back to the youngins. Look, they eating good, the kids eating good. We're not doing nothing negative.
Stop
all
the
positive
violence.
vibes.
Stop the violence.
Give a message to the youth right now, bro.
Just slow y'all roll. They ain't got to put the gun down, twin. Keep y'all gun. Slow y'all roll. Y'all moving too fast. Stop moving too fast and really think before y'all do shit.
Dull and Skrilla would then explain how they went to the same school and how their school was a good school.
I went to high school with Dull too, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I went to Boys Latin. Nobody don't even know that.
Hey, Boys Latin.
Yeah, that's like a all boys school. I had to get
good school, yeah. It's probably one of the best
99%
schools.
of everybody that go there go to college.
Later in the video, cops would pull up to where they were at to take Skrilla's speaker for playing music too loud.
This is a lot of cops pulling up.
But it's my speaker though. I just bought it.
YBC Dull would then say that the kids need to stay in school before saying he needs to leave because he's flaming hot and someone might try and do something to him.
I can't really keep like walking around and down here though. I'm telling y'all, I'm flaming hot, and I'm Mr. Disrespectful. They gonna do something to me.
Yeah, we don't want that at all, bro.
I can't afford that.
At all, we do not want that.
Just over a week after this interview, Dull would pop out with his latest disrespectful stunt. After Kwa's murder, which had been the topic of intense debate and speculation on Reddit's Philly Wiki, Kwa would be laid to rest with details of the funeral circulating online. Kwa's obituary listed an open casket viewing at his funeral to be held on May the 25th, 2024. Unfortunately, parts of this ceremony would be live streamed online, which included footage of the funeral showing Kwa's open casket. And at the end of June, Dull would take to social media, reposting an image of the open casket from the funeral with one caption asking why Kwa has such a big smile on his face, suggesting that he must have enjoyed it when the shooters jumped out on him, and another post where he tagged his friends Sani and Livy, saying that he would have slapped Kwa's body if he was there, with the poster of this clip on Reddit speculating that Kwa must have been on the J100 or Baby K hit, and suggesting that this was one of the most disrespectful things Dull had ever done, so it must have been personal. Ironically, people on Reddit reacting to this would immediately predict Dull's death 2 months before it would happen, saying that if you're this disrespectful, you better be ready for the bullets that are coming your way. Others commented that this sort of behavior was bordering on suicidal, and saying that this sort of behavior was indicative of someone truly ready to die, with others calling Dull like the Philly version of Foolio, and saying that Dull was bringing Chicago drill culture of dissing the dead to Philadelphia. The culture of violence in Philly was at an all-time high at this point, and perhaps it's no surprise that yet more senseless murders would follow. On July the 4th, 2024, around 11:30 p.m, there was a shooting that claimed the life of a 19-year-old Maurice Quan during a 4th of July pop-up party. According to the Inquirer, Around 11:30 p.m., a white Toyota Highlander pulled up with a gunman opening fire into the crowd, firing 17 shots. A 19-year-old Maurice Kwan was hit in the face and pronounced dead in the hospital, while 8 other people, aged 14 to 24, were hit. A report by the Philly Inquirer suggested that he was an innocent bystander killed by accident as a result of the ongoing gang war.
When I heard 8 or 9 shots, I said to myself, this seemed like strange fireworks.
Instead of fireworks, July 4th ended with a bunch of gunshots. Surveillance video shows people scrambling near 60th and King Sessing late last night after a gunman inside an SUV fired into a crowd. Investigators say 9 were shot, including a 20-year-old man who lost his life. All victims are between the ages of 14 and 23, according to investigators. They say it all started on social media with a pop-up event in North Philadelphia that was shut down. That eventually moved to Southwest Philadelphia. Police say they once again were able to break it up, but the crowd came back about 30 minutes later, and that's when the SUV showed up.
The same day as that shooting, on July the 4th, 2024, YBC Doll's next song, 5500, drops, a song that was back-to-back with Disrespect, with Doll naming a number of his dead ops, now including Qua on the list, and essentially saying that he smokes them like dope and that he sold a pound of Qua for $5,500, and shouting out La and Leafy and dissing No Chills and Leaky, and in his verse, dissing Sydney, HL, and Reefy, the latter being a 2023 murder that doesn't get mentioned a lot, but Mir Pablo would later get accused of doing. On 5500, Doll also rapped that 5 CCK members died, and saying that someone dropped their nuggets and screamed, likely another line disrespecting Booger. Doll was just getting started, and a week later, on July the 11th, 2024, Doll drops Dead People with Hop Out Blick and Rundown Spaz, and unsurprisingly, it includes yet more dissing, particularly aimed at Qua. Then, on July the 20th, 2024, YBC Doll would release a collaboration with 2 infamous Chicago gang members who wound up losing their lives in close succession too. His song Long Live Jeffrey Dahmer featured Bloodhound Lil Jeff and Lil Scoom. In the song, Lil Scoom would start off by saying that they kill people for real, which if you want to go and verify, just go and watch my videos on Bloodhound Lil Jeff and Q50, before then rapping about signing a deal while still spinning blocks in the trenches. Bloodhound Lil Jeff would use his verse to warn his ops if they play that they get killed, before Doll hops on to say that Sid got cooked in his house while Qua got cooked coming out. Sadly, all 3 artists in this song are now dead, with Lil Jeff being gunned down in Chicago on June the 8th, 2024 while chasing someone into a house on a hit, and Lil Scoom apparently being backdoored only a month later on July the 7th, 2024 whilst trying to get his hair done. This is a fact that Instagram pages would point out, saying that everyone that hopped on this song would lose their lives within months, with someone commenting that the new generation of rappers is doomed, while another comments that this is what the drill music culture really leads to. It was a sad truth, but the consequences of the disrespect was still far from catching up with Doll. On July the 29th, Doll releases another disrespectful song called Baltimore, again aimed at Qua, with Baltimore being the street that he was killed on. And Doll starts the song dissing Buddy, Fro, Rizzy, and Snipe, as he often does, and rapping in the hook that someone in the city is getting spanked in the streets and that someone just got hit and killed on Baltimore. Later rapping that someone was walking on Baltimore and someone jumped out on him, followed by an incredibly specific lyric where he says that 4 shooters jumped out and hit someone 12 times, a direct reference to the exact circumstances of Qua's murder. He would mock Qua and reference Booger's death, saying that he lost his McBrothers and calling them the disrespectful nickname the McButton Twins. Then once again dissing Young Bull from the Back Block or Kanye, talking about sliding in a Kia with Murder Loke, and ending his verse referencing a shooting involving Deke Loke and Benji, with Benji being a lesser known member who was killed, which I couldn't find much info on, but a Philly wiki post did suggest that he was from 39th. In the second verse, Doll boasts how his gang have killed 5 people in a row. Doll was taking the disrespect to scary new heights, but unfortunately, the street life really can only end one of 2 ways, and for YBC Doll, the self-styled Mr. Disrespectful, who had mocked his enemies and their families relentlessly for years, all while profiting handsomely, it was likely all along that this story could only end one way, and so in August 2024, it would all come crashing down in dramatic fashion, and karma would finally come around for Mr. Disrespectful.